Hey guys, it's me, Cat Kerr, and today we're talking about 5 easy peasy resin paper ideas. Now, if you don't know what resin paper is, it's really simple to make. Today I'm using amazing Clear Cast, and I'm also using just some paper scraps that I had laying around. You can use any kind of paper. You can use cardstock, tissue paper, book text, anything that you have available. I also have a rubber mat on my counter. If you don't have that, you can also use wax paper or freezer paper. All you have to do is just mix up 2 equal parts of Amazing Clear Cast. And you're going to mix it together thoroughly, just folding it gently for about 2 minutes. And then after that, you're going to apply it to your paper. If it's a thicker paper, I normally like to apply it to both sides, but the tissue paper is pretty thin, so I'll just go ahead and apply it to one side. Now, an optional step is to add some glitter to your resin paper. It just gives it a nice little sparkle. You can also add confetti, anything thin that you might want to incorporate into your resin paper. After about 24 hours, you can go ahead and peel it up off your sheet, and you're left with this really beautiful paper that you can now incorporate into your projects. It's got a little bit of sparkle, and it's thick and it's durable. And you can see with the tissue paper, when I peel it up, it's going to have a nice translucent look to it. And that also happens when you use napkins or any kind of thin paper that you have. So now you have this beautiful paper that you can incorporate into just a lot of different projects. Now, I always have metal scrap lying around. I use metal in my work, and so I always work on pieces and then end up not using them. So today I'm making a little book pendant with some metal scraps that I have. I'm just cutting it down to size, trimming off the edges, and then filing them down. I also punched 2 holes so that I can later attach all my pieces together. Now I'm going to take some resin sheets and cut them down to size. I'm not being precise about it. I like when paper kind of hangs out of the little book. So I'm just trimming little sheets and also punching the holes so that I can later use jump rings, assemble them all together, and I have a nice easy pendant. Now, I love making resin sheet gift tags. Super easy to make. I'm just cutting out some rectangles from a resin sheet, and I'm not using a template, just totally eyeballing it. And then I'll trim some corners and then punch a hole to create the tag. Now I'm using some white rub-ons to personalize the tags. You can use any color rub-ons. I just happen to like the white ones because it really pops. Next, I'll use some embossing powder, a rubber stamp, and a heat gun to add some design to the tag. Now, you can also use punches or die cutter machines to cut thin resin sheets. Here I just cut out a heart, and I'm just going to add a little punch in the center so that I can connect the heart onto this card that I made. And I'm just going to take an eyelet, slip it in the hole, and then also in the card, and then just flatten out the other side using a hammer. And I have a card that's ready to hand out. Now I'm going to make a stamped cuff. This is super easy. I just need a piece of resin sheet, some archival ink, and a stamp of my choice. I'm just going to add the stamped image to the back side of the resin sheet, and then I'm going to cut it out to the desired shape. Now I just need to add holes to all of the pieces. Once I add the holes, I'll go ahead and add an additional layer of resin to the top of the piece. I'll sprinkle on some glitter, add jump rings, a little bit of chain, and some charms, and I'm ready to wear it. Now for my last sample project, I'm answering a question I get all the time. What do I do if I get an air bubble or if resin seeps into the edges of my photo? In this sample, I have an air bubble in the corner there. The piece came out great except for that air bubble. So I'm just going to take a piece of that resin sheet, cut it to the same shape, and then I'll punch a hole in the center, big enough for me to be able to put a pair of scissors in, and then I'm going to cut out a frame. Now once I've cut the frame, all I have to do is add a layer of resin to the top of my piece. Then I put the frame on top, add a little bit more resin, and I let it cure. This technique works great for standalone pieces or for bezels. To view more tutorials using Amazing Clear Cast, be sure to visit www.moldputty.com.